everyone. So in this episode, we're going to go further, and from where we have our gallery system right now, we're going to go ahead and make it where when we run our visual novel, that we can call gallery images to display on the screen and automatically unlock them for viewing at a later time. So to start this off, I'm going to go ahead and delete my gallery file, which is the gallery.vng that was created automatically. I'll go ahead and delete that, so that way we have no more unlocked files. So we're starting from scratch. If we go ahead and relaunch without that file, we should see nothing but a bunch of black images indicating that we have no items in our gallery currently unlocked to us. So let's go ahead and unlock them. Oh my, the navigation buttons aren't working. I should probably add that in. We'll do that at the end of this episode. But let's go ahead and head to the visual novel and incorporate some new commands that will allow us to unlock the gallery files. I'm going to make a new extension just for the gallery. Even though it'll only have a few commands, I'm going to separate it into its own space. So I will create a new C# script called cmd database extension for the gallery. So I'm going to have the graphic panels database extension open for reference, and let's go ahead and move this into the namespace of the commands. So inside the command namespace, let's now add this as a database extension. Let's remove start and update, and let's go ahead and implement the function called extend. So the new command I'm going to add is going to be called showGalleryImage, and it's going to use a new action with a string array for data called showGalleryImage. Now if we look at the graphic panels, I'm going to use much of what I used in SetLayerMedia. So I will definitely want the media name, the transition speed, immediate, and any blend texture I might use. I'm probably not going to use audio because my graphics are just images. But this entirely depends on what kind of gallery images you'll be displaying. Maybe your galleries could even consist of multiple objects, and you could have layers, in which case you would want some more options available. But for me, I'm going to copy these values, and I'm going to paste them as what I will be looking for in this particular command. And then I'm going to look for the values here. So I want the media, immediate, transition, and blend text. So I'm going to copy those as the parameters that I want to get, and I also need the reference to whatever these are going to be. So then I also want to get a storage container for my parameters, basically reusing a lot of stuff that we had done in the graphics panel. If I go to graphics panel, now I need the media name, the immediate, transition, and blend text. So I'll go ahead and paste those in, but I also need these param identifiers. So if I look up at the top, I can have media. I'm just going to copy these and remove the ones I don't need. So paste them in there. So I don't need layer. I know it's going to be layer 0. I don't need the panel because I know it's going to be the cinematic layer. And video audio does not apply. I'm only using images. Okay, so I've got the data that I need here. So now I need to find the path to this graphic. So string path to graphic is going to equal filepaths.gallery. This is where I'm going to be looking for everything in. And I'm going to add on top of that the media name. So media name. And there's the path to the graphic that I want to load. Then I'll go ahead and simply say texture graphic equals resources.load as a texture from path to graphic. If graphic is not equal to null, then we know that we got something. Otherwise, if it is null, then we did not retrieve anything. So rather than nest some if statements, I'm just going to check if graphic equals null, and I'm going to return after giving myself a warning. So if the graphic is null after I try to load it, I log the error, couldn't find the gallery image called media name in the resources folder, passing in the folder that I was looking at, and I just return and do nothing. Otherwise, let's go back to the graphics panels, and let's go ahead and copy this line where we get the blending texture. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a temporary cache for my blend texture in case I'm going to use one. And then if I'm not using an immediate transition and my blend text is not empty, I'll go ahead and load it from the blend textures resource folder. And then I'll go ahead and get the graphic layer I want to apply this to, which is going to come from the graphic panel manager. We're going to get the cinematic panel, and then we're going to get the first layer in that panel and create it if it doesn't exist. So that way we have something to apply this image to. Next, if we are not immediate, I need to add some termination logic. So that way we can force the image to completely show if the user happens to click during the transition. So we'll do this by saying command manager add termination process, and then what we're going to be doing is passing in an expression where if the graphic layer is not null, we will go ahead and set the texture to the graphic, setting the file path and immediate to true, and we force it to display on screen. And then I need to wait for this to complete and wait for it to completely show the graphic on screen, unless of course it gets interrupted. But for that I need to yield, and I forgot to make this a coroutine. Instead I made it an action, so I need to change this to IEnumerator, and then change action to function, and specify IEnumerator, as well as the gallery image. Okay, and then we need to yield. So instead of return, we'll go yield break if we have no graphic, so it stops. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and wait. We do that by yielding for the graphic layer.setTexture, passing in the graphic, the transition speed, the blend text, path to graphic, and whether it's immediate or not. So if it's immediate, it'll just go ahead and force complete. If not, it will now force this function to wait until it does complete. If we get an issue on blend text saying use of unassigned local variable blend text, let's just make sure that we initialize blend text as null. So that way it doesn't think we're trying to pass in nothing. So I had AI generate some art for this forested path in a rainstorm, and that's the image that I'm going to show in my gallery. So as I run chapter 1, as soon as I get to talking about the characters dashing through the rain and mud, I'm going to show gallery image followed by forest path, which is the name of my texture. So if I go ahead and start a game, and then get to that point, here we go, there we are. So there's my graphic image that has now shown up. So if I go back to the home menu, then if I go to my gallery, it's still not there because we actually didn't unlock it, we only showed it on the screen. So let's just add on the ability to unlock it now. We only really need to add one command, and that is we need to go to the gallery config dot active config, or actually no, it's in a static function, so unlock image. So we're going to unlock the image, which is the graphic name. So that's actually media name. So we'll go ahead and unlock it as soon as we show it. So let's go ahead and try that again. Go into new game, and we start, and we show it. Okay, cool, so that should be good. You can see in the console that we saved data to the gallery VNG, so it did get saved. So now let me go back home, go to gallery, and there's my image. Now, when the characters get on screen, the gallery cinematic should show above the characters but underneath the dialogue. So let's go ahead and show another one. Show gallery image, and then I'm going to show the next image, the village inn, right as they talk about seeing a lodge. Okay, so we go through, we find the first image. Okay, it's in the village, hurry, we're almost there. And then, ooh, I'll need to cancel that one out. Okay, so that brings me to the next command that we're going to run, which is we need to be able to hide the gallery image. We're just going to go ahead and add a new command called hide gallery image, and then hide gallery image is going to call a new function called hide gallery image. Then when we hide the image, we're going to go ahead and snag the cinematic layer, and if we don't currently have a graphic showing, then we're just going to do nothing. But if we do, then we're going to proceed on and we're going to hide whatever is on screen. We'll start by caching our normal values for the transition speed, whether it's immediate, and if we use any sort of blending or not. Then, as we always do, let's convert our data into a parameter list. Then let's go ahead and try to get our parameters and cast them into those values for immediate, speed, blend texture, and if we're not immediate and we're using a blend texture, go ahead and load that from the file, just like we did earlier. And if this is not an immediate effect, add a termination action to the current process where we go ahead and clear the graphic layer. And then we'll go ahead and try to clear it using the transition speed, the blend texture, and the immediate boolean if we have used one. So then we show the gallery image, and then once we get to the next portion where they actually come on screen, I'm going to hide gallery image and just use the default variables. So we show the gallery image, and then we proceed on forward, excitement fill their breath, and now, as I click, they're about to enter the scene, so we should hide this. Which we did, and that was pretty quick. And the reason that's so fast is because we're actually triggering the termination logic immediately, because we're not yielding for any sort of duration. So let's go ahead and check and wait for this layer to clear. That way we don't trigger the termination logic before it's actually called for. So we can allow this thing to fade out instead of immediately being destroyed. So let's check if graphic layer dot current graphic is not equal to null. If it's not, then we need to yield for as long as it is fading out. So we can say yield return graphic layer dot current graphic dot is fading. And until it has finished and it's gone, we will continue yielding. So let's go ahead and try this again. Here we go, we get our gallery image up ahead, and it should come down here in a second. And the reason that that transition was so fast is because we actually didn't wait for anything. We immediately finished this. You can see we have no yield statement. We immediately finished, and we immediately triggered the termination action. So instead of immediately finishing, we need to wait until the graphic has finished. Just like at the end, we wait until the graphic has fully set itself on screen before continuing. And actually, now that I look at that, unlock gallery should be right there. It should be right before the yield statement. But anyway, back up here, we have hide gallery image. So now we need to wait until this is fully faded out. So if graphic layer dot current graphic is not equal to null, then let's wait until something is true. So let's yield return new wait until, and let's wait until a certain expression returns true. And that expression is going to be, we're going to look at the graphic layer dot current graphic dot is fading. Now we want to wait until it is not fading. So only when it's not fading, we will finish. And we will be done with this command. So here we go. We launch it, we get our picture up, and then now we should go ahead and fade out. And I set my fade out to be a real slow speed, so it's taking its sweet time. But indeed, it is fading out. That was at speed of 0.1. So now that we see that our hide command works, let's go ahead and add a new command in. I'm going to go ahead and show a new gallery image when the characters come on screen, because the gallery image should be on the cinematic layer and that should show above the characters. So as soon as they start talking about a lodge, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a new gallery image called Village Inn, which will show the lodge they're talking about. And then I'll go ahead and hide gallery image at the end of that, after they've finished talking about it and after they have made their choice of where they're going to go. So this means we should be able to start a new game, and we should get the first gallery image right here. Once they get into the image, it's going to fade out at a normal time. And we are now in the scene with the characters. So let me go ahead and go forward, a little further, and let's get to where they see the lodge. Hey, think I see something over there. There we go. So now we have the next cinematic layer, which has come in, and it is the lodge. So we get our choice come up, we're going into the inn. And this means that we could go back to our main menu, go home, open up gallery. Yeah, we'll need to fix that. Go to gallery, then we do get the other gallery image unlocked for us. So that's how we can set up our gallery to be unlocked from the visual novel. Again, how you set up your gallery is up to you. It may be different for different stories, but this is the basic idea of how to set up a gallery system if you're just working with still images. Again, some galleries may incorporate 3D scenes. They might incorporate layers of 2D elements and visual effects, so you might actually be using some strings or some enumerations to know what gallery stage you have unlocked, and from there you can load a pre-configured screen or pre-configured scene and then display whatever would be in that gallery section. But if you're just working with images like I'm doing here, then this is all you need, and this is perfect for a basic gallery system. Now you may notice that when you fade out those gallery panels, because of that wait until statement, we are actually getting a null reference at the very last frame, because it's waiting until they've faded out, and then they are being destroyed once they're faded out. So let's head there real quick and fix that. So instead of waiting until it's done fading, what we could do is once it finishes fading, it's going to destroy itself anyway. So we could wait until current graphic equals null. But then what happens if we go to display a new gallery image while this one is fading out? Then we're looking at the wrong graphic because the new gallery image would be displayed as the current graphic now. So we actually just need to cache it and wait until the one that we've been looking at, the one that we're clearing, is gone. So var graphic object equals graphic layer dot current graphic, and yield return new wait until, and we're going to wait until the graphic object equals null and it's been destroyed. And then we can continue forward, let the graphic fade out, and we no longer get any null reference errors. So with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and end this one off. In the next part, we're going to make sure that our directional arrows work and make a few small tweaks to polish up our main menu.